You can't see it, but Moose is on the floor
You
down
might
here
see him shortly.
giving us some moral support. You ready to talk swing?
Ring a ding ding.
It's time to swing. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. So anyway, here's the word to start with. For those of you who don't read cursive, it says Lindy. It's an inside joke. It's named for an aviator named Charles Lindbergh, who in 1927 hopped the Atlantic. And the dancers of the time were dancing to the new music, which was swing music. And Shorty George Snowden was quoted in a newspaper saying they're doing the Lindy Hop. It was named for Lindbergh's hop across the Atlantic. So that's kind of fun to know. Also, the term jitterbug was used to describe anybody dancing to swing music. So you got the name of the dance, the name of the music, and the name of the dancer. So that clarifies the main terms. We're dancing the Lindy. If you're dancing to swing music, you're called a jitterbug, and the musical style is called swing. Now, someone out there with a lot more musical background can explain the swung eighth notes and all the theory behind it. But mainly, we're thinking that there's two measures in 4/4 time. Am I correct with that?
Correct.
Susie has way more musical background than me. I can kind of feel it. She can explain it better. But two measures equals 8 counts of music. So we have a style of swing that we call 8 count. And then they developed another variation on the 8 count, which was a 6 count pattern. And it parallels the foxtrot in its timing. And when we cue it, we always say slow, slow, quick, quick. Yeah? So we have 8 count swing, 6 count swing. Or we should really say 8 count Lindy, 6 count Lindy. Fair enough? Good so far?
So far, so good.
All right. So now this was primarily the style in the 20s and 30s, but it was mostly improv and everybody danced their own style and nothing was standard. But by the 40s and 50s and 60s, most of the studios were teaching a 6 count pattern. This is as we understand this. And swing, dancing Lindy and jitterbug evolved regionally and town to town. So your grandpa's version of the jitterbug is probably completely different than another version of the jitterbug. And that's okay. It's part of the dance. It's supposed to evolve and be a jazz form.
Right. So nobody's ever really wrong with swing. There's just different styles. So
the only time it's wrong is if she says ouch. Fair enough? So within that 6 count, slow, slow, quick, quick timing, when I learned how to dance, Susie's mom, Marion, Mrs. C, taught 3 types of swing. And they were
single Lindy, double Lindy, triple Lindy.
Single, double, triple.
Triple Lindy is what ballroom studios call East Coast swing.
Yeah, and we'll touch on that term in a little bit. The name single, double, triple indicates how many steps per slow. And this is thanks to our good friend Lance Benishek when he explained swing to us. Dancing terminology, the slow is 1 step, 2 steps, or 3 steps. Single Lindy, double Lindy, triple Lindy. So when we first learned from your mom, she taught this right out the gate. Yep. And it was a form of two-hand hold, side, side, rock away, side, side, rock away, slow, slow, quick, quick. She then added the double Lindy, or
she usually went to the
triple
first.
Next.
Triple is always next.
Triple, 3 steps per slow, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, rock step. Double Lindy, which she called tap step or dig step.
Yep, there's 2 different versions. There's a tap step and a dig step that are both double Lindies.
So this was her primary style, but then she went to triple Lindy next.
Triple is easier to teach than double.
And double Lindy.
And triple is done to slower music. So there's more time to think about it.
Now the 6 count swing typically is referred to as East Coast swing. And the term East Coast swing is mostly used in the ballroom communities. And when they asked Frankie Manning, hey, there we go. Frankie Manning, who we learned to do the Lindy Hop from, the 8 count form, they asked him for an interview, why did you do 6 count patterns and 8 count patterns? And he just shrugged and said, it felt better in the music. So there's really no explanation how it evolved that I've ever been able to find. But if Frankie says it feels better in the music, we'll go with that. As the ambassador of Lindy, we'll go to Frankie. So, but this tends to be easier to teach.
Yeah,
You don't have as much depth and layers of difficulty as you do with the 8 count.
correct.
I mean, you can do the 8 count real simple, but when it starts to revolve and you have the connection, it's a little trickier. So we almost always start with 6 count. And the term East Coast swing in the ballroom world has a sway of the hips and a Cuban motion. And then the British call it jive. It's the same timing, and it's primarily triple swing.
Just done really fast with really
Yeah,
more
the
knee
jive
driven.
is based on what they saw the American soldiers dancing in the 40s when they were there as part of World War II. East Coast swing evolved on the coast where the studios were taking this 8 count pattern and I think they took a variation of it and made their triple step their basic swing. There's a fun story in Frankie's book about him being one of the inventors of the Lindy, taking a ballroom class, and he left in the middle of it and he said, "This is too hard for me." It's fun to check out Frankie's book if you really want to get some good swing background. Look up Frankie Manning and Norma Miller. Their biographies are the gold standard.
Yeah.
So that's a general understanding of 6 count swing. There's also a form called West Coast swing, and that evolved from Texas across the South into California. And the legend often says that it was made for smaller dance floors, littler clubs, and so Hollywood producers could film it easier on screen. It became more of a slot dance, where the 8 count was a circular dance, and 6 count also tends to travel these triple indies. Okay, so that's a good introduction of your two primarily styles of swing: 6 count and 8 count. In the 8 count swing, when we learned it, we got a flyer in the mail from the dancers in Minneapolis, and they said, "We're doing level 2 Lindy," but they said Lindy Hop.
Well, Lindy
So
Hop.
right, so
Different.
what Susie's mom called single Lindy, we took Lindy Hop to be, well, must be the same thing, right?
They're both
Well,
Lindy's.
we went down and we were quickly educated. We spent 3 days burning up the floor and fell in love. It's a dynamite dance, but our introduction was I guess that would evolve as what they call the Savoy style, Lindy.
Yeah.
And Frankie brought this back in the 80s and 90s when he came out of retirement and started teaching college kids for about 2.5 decades. So Savoy style Lindy is kind of what we were taught at the beginning. There was also a smooth Lindy that it's kind of close to West Coast swing in its styling, but it uses all these patterns. There's other derivatives. These are the primary ones. And then from there you can build in the Charleston, which is kind of fun because that branches out a couple different ways. We have 1920s and or 1930s, aka long-legged Charleston. And our friend Lance said, if you're dancing 20s Charleston, you better dance it in two. Yeah. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And the long-legged Charleston fits better with the Lindy. So as you're dancing this 8-count pattern to faster and faster music, the basic step gets a little harder. So we build in Charleston and breaks and freezes. So that becomes a part of swing as well, or Lindy. So that's kind of an overview of the different styles. And then Lance also, as he coached us through swing, gave us what we call the 1950s jitterbug, his version of the single Lindy, which was slightly different than Mrs. C's. You want to talk about the difference?
Well, instead of going side to side, it went forward and back. So you started in closed position, went forward and back, and then it made all the turns really easy.
Yeah,
So
we were teaching single Lindy going side to side, and he said, that's great. But once the follow starts to turn, they're stepping forward and back anyway. So you can try starting there. And since then, we kind of go back and forth between the two. Single Lindy in two-hand hold or single Lindy in what you might think of as promenade or side-by-side position.
sometimes they call it big band or bandstand.
Bandstand Lindy, named for the American Bandstand show in the 50s and 60s. it was popular in that television show when the teenagers were dancing. And some of the old 50s movies, you'll see them moving forward and back doing their jitterbug. The single Lindy side to side is pretty good dance for basics for beginners.
Great if you're teaching kids.
Yeah.
It's easier for kids.
So yeah, it's easier to go side to side. We find that teaching people to move sideways is just easier to begin with. Can't step on each other that way. And then in the grand scheme of things, the better Lindy dancers will ultimately blend 8 count and 6 count. They'll do double Lindy and tap steps mixed in as well. They'll mix in triples, singles, 8 count, 6 count patterns. And they'll drop in the Charleston and you do this different styles throughout. And so it becomes dancing, not doing steps. And that's part of the reason the dance is so much fun. It's good to improv but for a new dancer who's just trying to discover this, we find the best thing to do is the 50s jitterbug. We start there. Yeah. Once you get that slow, quick, forward and back rock step, the underarm turns are pretty straightforward. And then once you have the underarm turns, you can dance to all that rock and roll music. Rock and roll from the 50s era, that feel of driving rhythm, it tends to be faster. So this single Lindy is easier. When the music slows down a little bit, then you can drop in your triple steps. And as you get more adept, we start to add the second counts and make it circular and bring in 8 count patterns. And at the beginning, Lance said, don't just teach this or don't just teach that, blend them. But the best way to start is the single Lindy. It's the fastest way to get a basic on the floor. Yeah. There's really like 3 or 4 basics in the 8 count that we can point to.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an overview. I know it's not fully complete, but for anybody who's wondering, this is sort of the
starting point.
Yeah, a good starting point. 8 count and 6 count are your 2 styles. And in the 6 count, single Lindy means 1 step per slow, double Lindy 2, and triple Lindy 3. And then if you add the 2 counts, you get the different kind of Lindy hops. And then the West Coast swingers will mix in 8 count patterns, and they call their version of the basic Lindy hop move, which over here is called a swing out, where the leaders swing their follow out into the dance space. West Coast dancers will call that a whip. They're very similar. There's some differences because you're either dancing in a slot or circular. Yeah. So when you take a swing dance class, you could be in a ballroom studio, you could be in a Lindy hop studio, you could be in a
West Coast swing,
West Coast place, you could be in England, you could be at Susie and Hondo learning the 50s jitterbug. Remember, it's not wrong, it's just different. Keep the blinders off and be open to the fact that it's not the same everywhere.
So if you take a Lindy class, take another one somewhere else, because you're going to get different. Every teacher teaches it differently, and so we just always tried to take from a lot of different people because it's just way more fun. You see something new with every version.
Let's take the camera back a few feet and then just do like a couple of quick demo basics, all right? Okay. You always worry that you're going to get done filming and then you didn't actually have the record on. All right, so we'll start with the single Lindy the way we first learned it from Susie's mom, Mrs. C. Susie will count the rhythm and I'll show the basic.
Ready? And slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow, quick, quick.
Single Lindy basic and 2-hand hold. Now the triple Lindy.
And triple step, rock step, triple step, rock step.
I have to be careful not to put the hip sway in because I'm not dancing the ballroom style.
Right.
Now the double Lindy.
Yep, ready? And tap, step, rock step, tap, step, or dig steps. Dig, heel, rock step, toe, heel, rock step.
Double Lindy. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about East Coast swing. We'll put East Coast swing and jive all together, but basically I'm going to have a hold like this, and we're going to have the triples with a little sway action. Triple step, rock, rock, triple step, rock, rock. If I elevate my knees more and add some real high energy kicks, then we would have jive. Okay, so how about a little West Coast? So in West Coast swing, we're probably going to think of 3 basics. There's push breaks, there's passes, and whips. The push break would be
1, 2, triple step, walk, walk, triple step, triple step.
Now a side pass to the left would be
Walk, walk, triple step, triple step. Walk, walk, triple step, and triple step.
side pass to the right would be
Walk, walk, triple step, triple step. Walk, walk, triple step, and triple step.
Now I'm going to do a couple whips. I'm not as strong in my whip as I am in my swing outs, but we'll see how I do.
Ready? And walk, walk, triple step, triple step.
Oops, you did that as a 6-count whip. We'll try that again with an 8-count version. Ready?
Walk, walk, triple step. Walk, walk, triple step.
Well done. All right. So that's a little West Coast swing. Now for Lindy, I'm going to dance here, and my starting point would be what they call the jockey. This is getting ready to dance. Now the basic swing out would be from open to closed.
1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
I over rotated a little so we would end up with a side angle. Now we also have an open to open swing out.
1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Very similar to the whip. If you have enough space, you can make it more circular. All right, and then we have a Charleston basic, which once you're back in closed hold would be
Rock, step, kick, step, double.
this is a
kick.
long-legged Charleston.
Rock, step, kick, step, double, kick, and step.
Now a 20s Charleston would be
Step and touch, step and touch, step and touch, step and touch.
now my twist feet aren't very good today, but if I practice well enough, I can get the twist feet going. Okay, so that's a little run through of most of the basics. Have I gotten everything?
Yep. Yep, I think so.
Sure, we'll call that good. All right. So thanks for tuning in today, and we hope you're enjoying our podcast, Becoming Susie and Hondo. Yay!